Hey, and welcome to Insurance Town. I'm the Mayor, Heath Sheeran, and the host of this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in school. My kids are back. Your kids are probably headed back to school soon, and it's an exciting time. And I can tell you, I'm excited about it for a couple of reasons, but not that I don't love having my kids out for summer and running them all over creation. I just it's good to have them back in a routine and back in school. And I know you feel me on that. So yeah, I'm pumped about that. So guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Because as you saw in the show notes, we're doing a solo. Because I got some things I just want to talk to you guys about, and I want to do some thanks, and I do want to get into some things. So first of all, I couldn't do this show coming up on almost 4 years. Crazy to me. And it's been 3 years and 8 months, but I rounded up. But who doesn't? We call it preacher count, and you just kind of round up a little. But yeah, it's nuts. And I couldn't do what I do, and I couldn't do this show without you, the listener, obviously. And I couldn't do this show without my sponsors. And I love my sponsors because I've built a relationship with them, and I have built a friendship, and it's just been amazing. Going back to Smart Choice, the fastest growing agency network for a reason. And, they've got over 10,000 agencies strong now. And it's because they love you and they want to help you, whether it's helping you get markets or helping you write more business, whatever it might be. They just love it. And I'm so appreciative of them and the support that they've given me. And it's just cool. And you're going to hear some episodes with them again coming up soon. And so anyhow, guys, if you haven't checked them out, I really highly encourage you to do that, especially right now in this hard market. They could really help you with either personal lines or commercial, or even benefits for that matter. And also my Canopy Connect, who's been with me from the jump, they are the one-click solution to getting those deck pages that you need to quote your prospects. And I couldn't do this show without them. I couldn't do it without you guys telling me how much you love them. Or every time someone signs up, every time someone signs up for Canopy using the /Heath, they call me almost immediately and be like, "Oh my gosh, I've been on Canopy Connect for a week now, and it's already changed my agency, and it's already changed the game." You got to check them out, man. They're incredible. If you need to know more, go to the website, check it out. They help you get deck pages and loss runs and information that you need to quote your prospects in one single click. Guys, as you've probably heard for almost 2 years now, we've got another incredible sponsor in CoverDesk. And Andy Priestman, if you haven't seen him on LinkedIn or social, you got to find him. He's posted recently an incredible hard market post, and it's some really cool posts about the industry, and just seeing what he's doing, following his career alone is just super cool, and what he's doing. And he's spending a lot of time overseas and pouring into people. And that's what I love about CoverDesk, because it's not just something that's going to help you, obviously, but it's also something that he's taken as a passion project of his. He's pouring into people and helping people in another country to make a better lives for themselves. And those virtual assistants come into your agency, become a part of your team, become a fabric of your agency, become the backbone of your customer service journey or of your employment, your employee journey, because they're going to help take those tasks off of someone's plate so they can open up to spend more time doing what they do best. We have a lot of people that call me, they use them forward facing, or they're on the phones and they're talking to clients. And I've got some that just use them for administrative tasks. I've got some that use VAs for accounting, for bookkeeping, for all kinds of things. So I would highly encourage you to jump into coverdesk.com, check them out. And whether you need a team or just one, they're incredible. Coverdesk.com. But, I've got a couple more that I want to get into later. But just for those who want to get into content, I do want to start by obviously just saying thank you again. And I think people that think that kindness and gratitude is a sign of weakness is crazy, because the world wouldn't go round without that. And so there's a lot of people in your life that have helped you to get to where you're at, whether it's your parents, whether it's your family, whether it's your employees, whether it's your best friends, your church, your community. And it doesn't hurt every now and then to say thank you. And so I want to spend a few minutes right now doing that, because gratitude is such an important thing in this industry and in this world. And if there's someone in your life that's helped you get to where you're at now, take a few minutes and just say thank you. Send a text message. I try to send out text messages throughout the week intentionally. I'm not going to lie. It is an intentional thing that I do, but it's a genuine intentionality, because I want my friends to know that I love them. I want them to know I'm praying for them. I want them to know that they mean something to me. And I try to do it in the moment, obviously. When they do something for me, I say, hey, thank you so much. But I definitely want to be something when you get that random text from somebody that says, hey, I was thinking about you. Oh, so far. It's crazy. I get so many positive responses for that. And that's not why I do it. I do it because I love you and I love my friends and I love my family. And it's just something that's important to me. And showing that kindness, just, it's not dorky. It's not weakness. It's not anything else like that. And I've had people that talk to me about, man, you're too kind. You're too much like Switzerland. You're too this or that. I can't be that way, because then people will trample all over me. And every time I show this or that, people trample me. It's not about that. I mean, you can have kindness and gratitude, and you can do that in a way that is not weak, or not a way that's going to let people walk all over you. And it is empowering, and it does help you to get further, and it helps other people to get further. And I've always just lived by the motto of just letting people, or putting other people ahead of me and putting people in front of me. And I want to do that. And it's never about me, and it's never about getting any glory for myself. I never started this podcast to become insurance famous. I never started this podcast to become an influencer. I never started this thing for any other reason than I just want to give back to an industry that's given so much to me for 20 years. So that's important to me. And I'm not going to lie, I do enjoy the feedback. I do enjoy getting the emails from you guys. I do enjoy the text messages and the DMs. It means the world to me that we've built this community, and that you guys feel comfortable enough to reach out to the mayor and say hi. And when you see me at events and you've come to hear me speak, I had a listener of the show that told me the other day they're driving all the way to Kansas. They don't even live near Kansas to hear me speak at an event, because it was like, it's only a 4 or 5 hour drive. I'm going to come. And that really meant a lot to me. And I love it. And I love the community that I've built, and I love the community that we've built, and I love the sponsors and all of that kind of stuff. And, again, back to the feedback thing, I got an email, and I've got several actually, from a single post that I posted and a video that I created. I guess it's been a while back now, so maybe you can go back and find it, but it was about leadership. And it was just something I just put out. It was part of an interview, I think, that I was on, or something. I can't remember what I was doing, but the clip that I posted was about humility and leadership, and it was about empowering your team. And I got lots of positive feedback, and I got lots of follow-up interviews from other people. I say lots, a couple, but I got some opportunities from that, and I wanted to just say thank you. That means a lot to me, because again, I don't do it for fame or for glory or anything. I do it for you. But at the same time, I wanted to say that, and I wanted you guys to kind of hear my heartbeat on that a little bit. And, as we talk about humility and gratitude, and we talk about kindness and putting others ahead of yourself, really, before I get into, I'm reminded of my high school basketball coach. And I want to get into that story here in a minute, but I just, the story and the way he was with me, it was just one of those things I'll never forget. And I learned a lot of valuable lessons from my coach, and I didn't realize at the time, but it's been something that I'll never forget. And if you guys could just go back in time with me a little bit to the late 90s. Yes, I'm old. I got lots of gray in the beard, if you guys can't tell. But what I wanted to get into was this coach that I had. His name was Coach V. And he taught me a lot. And I didn't realize how much he had taught me at the time. And now that I fast forward several years to where I'm at today, I've noticed some of the principles and the things that I use in my own leadership that travel all the way back in time to this coach. And now that I look back, this guy truly changed my life. And so I start off with, just to set up the stage here, our practices and our tryouts and everything that we would do. He would have these things called intervals that we would do. And we would come into the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, which back at the time was super early. Nowadays, I get up before then every morning anyway. But back then, as a teenager and 16, 17, 18 years old, I thought, man, this guy's crazy getting me up this early. But we would come in and he would have 60 minutes on the clock. And would just have us run up and down the court for 60 minutes solid. That's an hour for those who don't know simple math. But and it was just one of those things to where, and the best thing about it, looking back now, at the time I thought it was crazy, but now I look back and I understand some of it. But he would put on his favorite tape or CD or whatever it was, and it was Jack and Diane. It was Small Town. It was ROCK in the USA. It was John Cougar Mellencamp's greatest hits, basically. Hurt So Good, some of the greats out there. But he would put on, and it would just be a repeat of this album for an hour. And we couldn't slow down very much. We could jog, but we couldn't walk for sure. And we couldn't put our hands on our knees. We couldn't stop. If we did, he added more time. But it was just, at the time I understood, because we wanted to outrun our opponents and we wanted to create endurance and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But just to set up the stage for this guy and how intense some of our practices, this before we even touched a basketball, got into plays, we would get after it early in the morning. And then after that, we would get a water break and then we'd go over plays and whatnot and video and whatever else. But yeah, 60 minutes of just solid running. But this guy, some of the things he would have us do, ladies and gentlemen, it's summertime and it is time to look your best. And I know that, it's tough out there. It's hot. I mean, in Arkansas, here in the South, it has been 110 every day. And, Manscaped wants to help you stay cool while it's so hot out there. And so using the products over at Manscaped, whether it's the Beard Hedger Pro to trim up your face, because it gets hot. I'm not going to lie. I've had this beard now for, I don't know, decades. And, it does get hot. I'm not going to lie. So having that Beard Hedger Pro to be able to trim that down, and it's got the roller balls. So to be able to roll that down to a comfortable number that helps me to stay cool. And then, you want to look good when you're at the pool or when you're at the beach or when you're at the lake or you're fishing or you're wherever. If you take your shirt off, man, you want to look good, right? So guys, get the lawnmower, take care of that chest hair, take care of the arm hairs, whether you're trimming or you're, taking it all the way down to the skin. It looks good. I actually, believe it or not, I was surprised. I thought, duh, but I had a swimmer reach out to me and said, man, I have to shave my arms and my legs every day, for my swimming or every week, whatever it might be. But just to have that, it was so much easier just to run it through one time. And I didn't have to use shaving cream. I didn't have to do the whole nine. I just able to use the lawnmower. Really cool. I was like, duh, why didn't I ever pitch this to swimmers? But anyway, guys, check out Manscaped. And if you want to, I've worked out a deal with them. We get 20% off plus free shipping by using the code MAYOR. Guys, check it out. Whether you're wanting to take care of some below the waist grooming, some body hair grooming, or you're just wanting to take care of your face with your eyebrows and your ears and your nose and your facial hair, manscaped.com. Use the code MAYOR at checkout. Guys, also, you may have seen we've got a new sponsor on the program, and that is Old School Marketing. And Old School Marketing is so cool because what they've done is the founder of Old School Marketing, he was on the show not too long ago. You may want to check that one out. He figured out a way to save his agency using direct mail. And what he did was he took it to another level and he started doing handwritten cards, handwritten envelopes, handwritten the whole nine. And literally, not a font, but he literally has a team that handwrites. And that personalization just makes people want to open that note because it looks like a card from grandma. And when they open that up and your message is there, it's just unbelievable. And the open rate's so much better and the closing rates are better. You just want to check it out. If you're doing direct mail marketing right now and you want to change a little bit, check out oldschoolmarketing.com. If you're not doing it yet, you think, oh, this is old school. They found a way to make old school cool, and they found a way to make it productive and effective, and the ROI is there 100%. And they want to give a discount to people who are listeners to the show. So if you'll use Town 10, you can get a good discount there of 10% off. So check that out. Go to Old School Marketing. It's OLDE, schoolmarketing.com, and check it out. Now let's get back to the show. I'll never forget, like, one of the drills that we would do every single morning. Bear with me here. There's a reason why I'm going through this, but I want you to hear some of this. And some of you guys that played basketball or girls that played basketball may know some of these drills. But one of the drills I thought was just crazy at the time. He would set us up in two rows, beside each other with a little space in between. And he would roll a basketball out and just on the floor, just kind of roll it or bounce it or whatever it might be out to midcourt. And as soon as he did that, a whistle would blow and we would have to run and race each other to that basketball. And it would be, the goal was to dive on the ball and to get to that ball and make sure that, kick, slap, bite, elbow, whatever, wrestling, whatever it took to get that ball. And I would come home with blood on the knees. It would just strawberries, raspberries, what do you want to call those, and bruises and banged up. And it would be just an absolute brawl to make sure we got that basketball. And the point of that was he was talking to us about doing the hard things that nobody else wants to do. Typically when you see, a ball roll across, well, someone might try to run to it and bend over and grab it. But we were to just all out dive for it and make sure that ball was in our possession. And it was just an insanely intense drill that we had to do. And I'd come home and friends of mine that I would talk to would be like, man, you're playing basketball, right? This looks like a football injuries, and I got hip injuries and, there would be bite marks and there would be just elbows flying. And I'd sometimes have black eyes or whatever, just literally just flying down the court to make sure we got that basketball. And again, just doing the things that nobody else would do and making sure that, we were the ones diving after the loose balls to gain an extra possession or two. And again, there's a lesson to be learned there. And, another thing, that he taught us and he would talk to us about that I'll, to this day, I think about. For me, this was fundamental changes in my life that as a 16-year-old, I didn't understand at the time, but I do now. And I practice some of this. He would tell us, if you have to come out of the game at any point, if I substitute you out, I don't want you going to the bench, sitting there with the towel over your head and sulking and wondering when the next minute you're coming in. No, you are staying involved in the game. I want you cheering. I want you high-fiving. I want you yelling. I want you cheerleading your team from the sidelines at any moment. I mean, you could sit down for a minute to catch a breath, get your Gatorade or your water, Powerade, whatever it was, but then you're on your feet and you are into the game. You were intense. You were talking. You were screaming. You were cheering on and encouraging your teammates the entire time, so that we stayed in the flow and the rhythm of the game, so that when you go back in, there's not an acclimation period. You are in the game. You know what's going on. You know who's hot, who's not, what plays we've been running, what's not been working, what has been working. And when you get in, you high five, you do the butt slap, the whole nine of letting know the guy that came out for you did a heck of a job. And you're communicating the entire time when you're on the sidelines. And it was something that was fundamentally game changing, because not only is it encouraging to your teammates, not only is it something that keeps you involved in the game, but it's also distraction to the other team. It's also just showing that unity. It was just something that I'll never forget. And, it started making me think as I've gotten older. And the other day when I was, talking about leadership, I started thinking about Coach V and the biggest, leader that I had in my life at that time. And yeah, I had great parents. I had a great minister and whatever it might have been. But Coach V single-handedly, changed my life in so many ways. And I go back to some of the things we talk about, and I come away with two or three things that I want to share with you that kind of, go and coincide with that post that I made about leadership. And I want you guys to think about this. And number one, it makes me think about, as a leader, whether you're the owner of the agency, whether you're a principal of the agency, or whether you're an account manager or a producer, there's leadership skills to be learned from this. And, number one, you think about the endurance that you have to have as a leader. And, running up and down that court, and it just makes me think, as a leader, you're going to need to be called upon at any given time to be able to do things. Or if a customer walks in and needs something from you, or the phone rings, something happens, or with market shifts and changes, you've got to be able to have endurance. And I think about the hard market that we're in right now, and it's one of those that I've never seen anything like it. And I've been in this industry 20 years, and I think we still got a long way to go on it, but you got to have that endurance. And you may have to stay late. You may have to get up early. You may have to get more creative. You may have to do some things that you hadn't been able to do before, but you need to have that endurance to be able to outlast your opponents, to be able to outthink your opponents, to be able to be clear-headed when this market's changing, when things are happening. Just having that mental image for me, and maybe for you too, of thinking about that interval of running up and down the court and conditioning. I one of my good friends and partner in crime right now at Vertiforce, Sid Rowe, and we talk about her training for triathlon. She's a triathlete, and she talks about endurance training and running and biking, these long bike rides. And some of you that are bike riders right now, I'll never forget. I tried to get into cycling, and if you know me, I'm a big boy. Cycling just didn't work for me. But I remember bragging to a friend of mine that was a cycler, and I said, "Yeah, I got out. I had a great long ride. I rode 12 miles this weekend." They're like, 12 miles? That's just warm up. And I was like, "Wait a minute, 12 miles? That's a long time for me." And I'm sitting here, bragging about that. But again, I digress. Thinking about that endurance training and having to do that. I think we need to be able to focus on having that endurance as a leader, and having that endurance as a person on your team to be able to perform when you're called upon at any given time. I also think about, the parts of a leader that is being open into communication and being an encourager and being someone that is positive and uplifting and cheerleading your team on. I think there's so much negativity in our world, so much negativity in agencies. And again, I talk about a hard market. I talk about market shifts, and I talk about the things going on with carriers and with this and with that. It's so easy to get negative, and it's so easy to get down in the dumps, to get upset and get just ticked off, for lack of better words, because it is tough. And you feel like, oh, the carriers aren't on my team, or, my account managers or CSRs or the owner of the agency or the producers or, my technology or the partners we have here and there, they're not on the same page, and everyone's always against me, or this or that. It's so easy to get negative and get down the dumps. But, for you to be a leader, be that voice of, way to go, and cheering on the sidelines, and being excited and noticing the little things and calling those things out. Being an encourager in the workplace is such a huge uplift and such a huge lift in your leadership and in your agency and in your family and whatever you're doing. But I think a key component of being a good leader is being a good communicator and being able to highlight your teammates when they're doing something right. I think as a leader in the agency, I think if you could call those people out, even if it's just a simple call out on a meeting to say, "Hey, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Sally or to Joe or to Tommy or whoever it might be," to say, "Man, I noticed last week you did this or that," or "You did a great job on getting this quote out to me," or "You did a great job on remarketing these 3 accounts," or whatever it might be. I think that's going to make a huge difference. I know this sounds just so fundamental and easy, but I don't see it a lot. And I've been in thousands of agencies throughout my career in consulting roles and marketing roles and sales roles. I think it happens near enough. And I think it's something I learned from Coach V through that exercise and being that cheerleader and being that motivator. And I think that it's going to make a huge, massive impact in your agency. If you could be that guy, be that girl, be that person in your agency that's an encourager and that is lifting up. The other thing I think about is, and I still to this day have PTSD thinking about this drill, but seeing that loose ball on the floor and diving after it and making those extra hustle plays it just makes me think as a leader and as someone in your agency. I know for me personally, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not the most skilled in not in athletics, but in just general in life. But I do know that I can outwork the next guy if I want to. If I put my head down, I get after it. It doesn't take a lot of skill to outwork somebody. It just takes that want to, that drive, that passion. And I think that's something that we could all do. It requires just effort. And if you want to be that person that makes those extra hustle plays, that goes the extra mile, that it takes just a little bit more, and you could be that difference maker in your agency. And people talk about those people at the water cooler. People talk about those people, and you want to be in that conversation, right? You don't want to be the lazy one that just kind of does just enough to get by. You want to be the one that is making those extra plays, that is hustling, and that is getting after it. And I think that's going to go a long way. And so again, I go back to the story of my coach and some of the things that he had taught me. And he had this commitment to excellence, and the commitment to outworking the opponent, and this commitment to the hustle plays, because he knew small town Arkansas, and at a private school for that matter, and undersized, and we didn't have near as talented of a team as our opponents, and we didn't have those things, but we won a lot of games, and we went into state tournaments, and we went into district tournaments because we had the hustle, because we had the grit, because we were the underdog, because we had that mentality that I think that you have to have as a leader to be able to outwork your opponents. And so I think for me, I started thinking about that, and I want to share a little bit of that with you, just part of my journey, part of my story of leadership, as it leads up to just the post that I had posted the other day. And I appreciate so much of the feedback. And that afternoon, after I posted that evening, when I was looking through comments and DMs and emails, and I had so much in response to that, just thanking me for talking about that. And if you didn't see it, I had recently read an article about a guy named Satya Nadella, who was the CEO of Microsoft, and what he had done in the beginning stages of his career there with Microsoft, and some of those pitfalls, or not pitfalls, but some of the I guess the challenges he had to overcome. And he's still the CEO there, and he's done a lot of cool things there. And one of the things he had to do was climb a mountain of kind of being a little seen as behind the times as Microsoft with cloud technology, and with some of the things going on, and changing the culture of what Microsoft was. And one of the things he did that by embracing diversity in culture, and in race, and in gender, and in so many things. And this was back, I don't know, 10 years ago, almost. And some of the things that he did was make sure that he was available, and he was having conversations with people in Microsoft, not just at the C-suite level, not just in the ivory tower, but he was talking to his employees and letting them know that their voice was heard, and letting them know that he was open to collaboration, and opening the doors for that. And so, I started thinking about that and his humility in that, because he didn't have to do that. He could have just been the guy in the ivory tower and making those decisions, but he wanted to make sure he heard his people. He wanted to make sure that he was encouraging them, and he was opening up the lines of communication with humility. And I think that, for us as insurance folks, and as leaders in our communities, and leaders in our church, and leaders in our families, and leaders in everything that we do, I think that's one of those things that we need to work on, and being grounded and approachable. And one of the things I talked about was humility being a superpower. And when you're humble, you create a safe space, for people to feel comfortable, and people to share ideas, and putting your ego on the back seat. And I think there's so much to that. And imagine, if you will, how empowered your team would be, and how much they would step up, and how much they would be willing to run through a brick wall, so to speak, if they felt heard. And so as a leader, I think that's something we got to do. And, just a little sidestep there for a minute, I start thinking about leadership a different way because for me, it's family first. And everything that I do, I think about, my family and some of those things. I think, a lot of professionals that I know, whether in the industry of insurance or if they're in a different industry altogether, they put so much time and effort and focus on being a leader in their office and being a leader at their workplace and being seen as this leader in whatever the industry they're in. And I think they forget about being a leader at home and being a good husband, being a good father, and being a good son or daughter, being a good mother, being a good whatever it might be, because it starts there. And I think that if you don't get that in order first, I think it's going to be difficult for you to do those things at the workplace and do those things at home, do those things in your community, do those things other places. I think it starts at home. And I think it starts with being present at home, being present with your kids, being present with your wife, being your husband, your spouse. Being present in those areas is crucial. And I think too many times we lose sight of that. And too many times we're so focused on being the first one in the office and the last one to leave. And, we're focused on when we are at home, we're not intentional with that time at home. And when we are at home, we're on our phones, we're checking our emails, we're checking our technology to see, what task we have going on tomorrow or what accounts going on, and our mind is elsewhere. And I think you have to be able to be a good leader at home and check in and know what's going on with your kids at school, what's going on with your kids' sports stuff, what's going on with their dance recitals or their choir rehearsals or whatever it might be. And then, most importantly, checking in with your spouse. How are they feeling? How are they doing? And practice some of these things at home as well, and really engage at home. Encouraging at home, being a thought leader at home, being involved in the day-to-day household things. I think that's crucial. And I know, I'm getting off of insurance a little bit, but I think this is huge and this is my show, so I can do this. But I want you guys to be thinking about that as leaders. You got to start at home. And so, as we go back into the workplace and talking about leadership there, I think that, or I know that it's something that, in a hard market, in a soft market, in a place where people are really looking, whether it's for, I'm looking for a new producer, I'm looking for a new CSR, I'm looking for a new market, I'm looking for innovation, I'm looking for the newest and the latest and the greatest in technology. And I've got shiny object syndrome where I've got a need here that I've got to fill, I've got a void here, I've got to grow my new business. There's a lot of pressure from every direction in our industry, right? I think it starts, and you've got to be able to have strong leadership in your agency. And I think that includes delegating and maybe bringing on people to help you. I don't think you can do it alone anymore. And if you've got a good team, I think you may need to look at tapping into some of them to say, we're going to get into this new project. We're looking for a new carrier to help us in this area. Maybe tap some of your account managers, your CSRs, maybe some of your producers, some other team members to help you in that. Or we're looking to add a new staff member of some sort. Think about group dynamics and interviews. Think about getting them involved. Ask them if they know anybody looking. Get your team involved in some of these things. Maybe you're struggling with remarketing, or you're struggling with an account that you can't wrap your head around how to solve an issue. Get some other perspectives in there. Give some empowerment there to have some of your other teammates to help you. I think that's going to be a great way of leadership and getting your team involved. And it's just going to help your culture. And I think it's going to help with a lot of things there. And again, I wanted to share some thoughts and ideas that I had there and just provide some context for a post that I had posted out there from an interview that I had done for another show. And I really enjoy getting to do these one-on-ones and do these solo podcasts because they're a lot of fun for me. And again, this was a little more serious, but it is something that I think is crucial, and it's something that I felt like just needed to get out there. So I appreciate you letting me get on here and ramble a little bit. And if this was helpful for you at all, then I'd love to hear from you. You could text me. I'll give my personal cell. It's 501-908-2395. Or you can email me, heath@insurancetownpodcast.com. I'd love to hear you, hear your conversation on this. And I'd love for you to be a part of that. And if you have some other thoughts and ideas you'd like to share on this, I'd love for you to be a guest on the show and let's have a conversation here. If you disagree with me completely, that's fine too. I'd love to hear that too. Just, please feel free to reach out and let's have the conversation. Because I think there's not enough conversation on leadership out there in the industry. And I think it's tough right now. And so I wanted to have that conversation, and I hope this was uplifting, and I hope you could have some positive vibes walking out of this conversation, because it means a lot to me. Guys, and continue to listen to the show, subscribe, like, help me out in any way you can there, because I can't do the show without you guys. I love you guys very much, and y'all mean a lot to me. And I look forward to upcoming conversations. I've already got some great guests lined up and some stuff recorded already with Smart Choice, and some conversations coming up with Cover Desk, and some good friends of mine with my friend Angela. The Levines, Jason and Julie Levine are going to come in here. Tolga from Canopy Connect will be coming in soon. I recorded some stuff with them, and so I'm excited. Stay tuned. There's some good conversations. If you have some guest ideas, some content ideas, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's going to be a lot of fun as we come into fall, and we continue to keep our finger on the pulse on the hard market, on the trends that's going on. And so help me help you, help me, and let's continue this conversation. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the show today and hanging out with me and myself and I as we did a solo dolo, and I loved it. Thanks again. I can't say it enough. I appreciate you guys more than you ever know. And I want to continue to put out content. I want to continue to be here for you as long as you'll let me, and as long as you're enjoying it. So bring the feedback. Keep coming at me. Thank you for texting me. 501-908-2395, my personal cell, not a Google number, not a fake number, not a bot number. This is my personal cell that I've had since college. So reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again, guys. I look forward to hanging out with you again next week.